can be confusing to us and can be confusing to everybody. So, will we start?
Yeah.
Let's
Okay.
begin it.
So, Malikia,
Good afternoon, dear teachers, dear participants, dear colleagues. Now we are ready to present our today's webinar on the topic Teaching Reading Creatively. And today the presenters are Yakut Sharipova, Sarbanos Sharipova, and Malika Kasimova. And today we have very busy agenda. First of all, we would like to inform you about some useful theories about teaching reading. And then we'll give you some tips and techniques for making reading more creative. And of course, we'll have some engaging online and offline reading activities to actively engage your students into the process. And at the end, you will have some new software and apps for teaching reading comprehension. Now here we go, and it's time to give the floor to Miss Yakut first.
okay, good evening, everybody. Happy to see you again. And actually, I'm responsible for presenting some theory, but I know that theory is boring to all of us, and I'm not going to get you bored. I would like yours, like being with us, being active in our discussion, discussion parts or discussion activities. And of course, I will promise that we will do some wonderful presentation, wonderful webinar with you. And then because why I'm involving into our discussion, because you know, like that is exchanging experiences. So we know that you also have lots of wonderful, you have also had great experiences in teaching reading creatively. And if you share this experience about this webinar, we will also learn some things from you, and we will exchange experiences, and we will have wonderful, wonderful kind of bucket of activities for our new academic year. And now I'm going to focus your attention to the kind of words in presentation. And I would like to discuss this kind of quote. Becoming or being a reader rather than reading is at the heart of the national curriculum. So what does this mean? And how might we achieve this, this is school? And why is it necessary? If you are so shy to speak, you may just share your opinions or your kind of ideas in our chat room as well. So
Miss Yakut, sorry for interrupting you. In the chat room, participants are writing that there is some background noise. Therefore, can we ask our participants to mute themselves? Please switch off your microphones.
off your or mute your microphones, and you may speak like you may just unmute it while presenting your speech. Who wants to present his or her idea on the statement which is given on the screen? Becoming or being a reader rather than reading is at the heart of the national curriculum. Do we have volunteers?
May I speak?
Yes.
I think here we should just distinguish these two terminologies. Reading means just reading, maybe once something to read. But becoming a reader, it means to become a person who constantly reads something. Maybe, so I have understood in this way.
Okay, why it's on the heart of our national curriculum?
May I?
Yes.
Good day for everyone. Being a reader more than a reading, just reading, is a main part of a national curriculum because it isn't just reading, it is reading for how can I say? How can I explain it? It should be as a regular, and people should understand that it need for themselves. And it is important to teach people to read, not just reading. I mean, not to do any type of given at school or at work, but it should be usual thing. As it's food for our brain.
Good idea. Okay, so do we have any more volunteers? Hello, dears, be active.
Yeah, may I add, please?
Yes.
So I think that is in the heart of our national curriculum because we need the generation who reads constantly because it's a crucial part of education. Educated people are stand out by their constant reading skills, and we know that reading improves our speaking and writing skills also. Therefore, I think it's very important.
Okay, yeah, it is very important. So reading, we can just consider everything as a reading. So we can read everything, but we may not pay attention. But if we become a reader, so we will start to implement the things that we have read into life. So our national curriculum, it doesn't matter whether it's at school or at university, it is focused to prepare our learners to read life. So real life means like they should be able to use everything in real area that they have learned. So thus we need to become a reader, just reading. So by reading we may not like pay attention what have we haven't. Just we may just look at it and we don't like take it into consideration. But if we become a reader, we start to develop our outlook. We start to develop our kind of way of looking to the life, and we start to change ourselves. Thus, like we have a great like a proverb in all the cultures, like a person who's intelligent, it's a person who reads a lot. So by becoming a reader, we become an intelligent person. And how might we achieve this at schools? Well, of course, we may achieve at school by like using different interactive activities, or by using different involving activities. So it means like it takes a lot of effort by us, by teachers. So we need to be a little bit patient to our students, to our lessons, and we need to be very patient for preparing our lessons to our students, of course. And why it is necessary? Because it is requirement. So as we know, like from this academic year, lots of universities started to implement system of crediting. So that meant like now students will choose teachers, not like they will have a random groups. So that means teachers like need to keep their status. They need to keep like a position at the university. So how will they keep? They will keep by their methods of teaching. So that means they need to prepare something unusual for these students. Thus, it is necessary today. So, and okay, let's discuss next thing. What do you think? Is teaching children to read is a technical task? Is teaching children to read a technical task? Dears, please be active.
May I ask question?
Yeah.
And you mean technical task? You mean challenging here, or some using tech tools here? Can you
Okay.
clear us the question, please?
Is it like a just techniques that we need to teach, or is it something different?
Somehow, yes.
Okay.
There are
Why do you
some.
think so?
Yes, there are some techniques to teach reading,
Mm-hmm.
and it to become it usual, and understand people, to make people understand that it is useful for themselves, not just making them to do it, but doing it for pleasure by understanding, realizing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
and there exist some techniques of creative reading, teaching of creative reading.
Mhm.
It can be extensive and intensive.
Yes.
For example, in intensive reading, we may ask pupils to read loudly by reading loud, but in extending, they may read louder. It helps pupils to create their imagination. May I
So,
continue?
yes.
And in intensive reading, we read for just detailed, reading for gist. And extending, we read generally, just reading some story and get the main idea of the story.
So you already just turned it to strategies of reading, but generally, according to Teresa Clement, from her kind of notes in teaching English creatively journal, she mentioned that teaching children to read is neither a trivial matter nor just a technical task. It's probably the most momentous achievement of our school years. So primarily, professions should approach it thoughtfully and creatively. Why? So if we divide our kind of learners into the several categories. So young learners, older learners, yeah, like young learners, teenagers, and adults as well. So young learners are a kind of children at kindergarten or in a primary school. So in this part of teaching, reading is technical task, of course, but at the same time, we need just to develop their kind of ability of analyzing the things that they have read in their brain, not on out of their brain. So that means they read, they analyze, they respond. So thus, it's not just a technical stuff. It's like our achievement, teacher's achievement, and how to develop it. It's up to our creativity. So, what is reading? The next question.
Reading is
Can I answer?
understanding. Understanding.
Reading, may I talk?
Yes.
Reading is also the most important way of getting information.
Reading is getting information. Good job. What else?
Reading is understanding.
Reading is understanding.
Reading
So,
reading is broaden horizon.
Is broadening horizons.
Horizon.
Good job. Yeah.
Reading is also thinking.
Thinking logically.
Reading
Thinking.
is thinking. Good
And
job.
It's
So
a
see,
receptive skill also.
it's
yes,
a receptive
reading
skill.
is.
Yes,
Different
yes, yes.
ideas.
May I continue?
Yeah.
Reading is one way of four methods of learning languages or something else. Just
Good job. One way of learning languages.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Getting information. Yeah.
reading is relaxing.
Reading is relaxing. See, so as you understood, like we have already found, you already gave an answer to the previous question that it's not a just technical task, it's achievement. Achievement is what? Achievement, as you said, it's achievement of someone's way, because it's a way of for somebody. Achievement of what? Achievement of like a relaxing. Achievement of what? Achievement of the all ideas that we have. Now, all in all, can you mute your voices, please? Okay, so all in all your ideas are right. And now, kind of considering all your ideas, there is like a one general statement. The reading is basically involving transforming a text, which is a graphic representation, into a thought or meaning. It was already mentioned. So here we also need to mention what? We need to So we need to take into consideration reading models. So as you see, there are three reading models, which is bottom-up or text-driven reading, top-to-bottom, concept-driven reading, or interactive model. So that is mixture of both bottom-up and top-to-bottom. Now, I would like to give a short idea what is the difference between them. I think you already know what is the difference between them, would be kind of revision for you. So if we start like a bottom-up theory, it's like a starting from small units to bigger sets. So that means like starting from letters to paragraphs. And top to bottom, which is already mentioned, concept driven like a reading. So the reader, that is the typical reading that we do in our lectures. Like we give the text, or we do kind of pre-process of preparation. So we give a text, that's the reading with comprehensive activities, in other words. And interactive reading, it's like a mixture of both. Like the reader uses both bottom-up and top-down strategy, and the message goes like a letter by letter into the reader's brain. Then the message is matched with the existing knowledge in the brain in order to facilitate the further processing of new information. And so, how should we teach reading?
Well, we should pre-teach vocabulary at first, so that they wouldn't have so much difficulties in understanding the text or paragraph.
Okay, so teaching, good job. And do you know other ways of reading, teaching reading, sorry? So Nilufar is totally right. There are kind of one of the wonderful methods for today, like organizing pre-while post-reading process into teaching. So in pre-process, in short, if I tell it like it's preparing our students for while process. So by doing different activities where we kind of combine students' the topics that they are going to comprehend into their real life. So that means like it's like you may give different background, calling background questions or calling background tasks for pre-process. And while it's like a main part where we give the text and with comprehensive activities. And so post is like a implementation of both pre and while stages into real life. So that means they may use like the topics that they have covered, that they have comprehended during pre and while process into real life. So usually in post part we integrate like a reading with productive skills, with writing and speaking. By the way, we do the same with pre-process, because we may give like questions in order just to check their background knowledge, or just to pose their background knowledge by integrating speaking into like a reading. So that means like how should we teach reading? We need to teach reading by integrating with productive skills, and at the same time by dividing them into pre, while, and post process. And here we also need to take into consideration there are kind of all of the example activities which can be comprehended or covered or provided into pre, while, and post reading processes. As you see in the screen, like for pre-reading activities which are really famous, like a brainstorming or personalization. What does personalization means? Like we will ask our students their experiences. For example, the topic is like a city and country life. So we will ask them like which one do they prefer, or which one they have already experienced it, living in a city or living in a country, and which one they like more. So that means we will personalize their topics that they are going to cover. In the following way, we prepare them for while process. And we may just provide introducing the topic using visual aids, or we may organize different kind of discussions, pair, team, class discussion, or we may again like integrate listening into reading kind of. We may ask students to listen and then to talk about it. So in the following way, we prepare our learners to while process. And in while process, we will give them text for reading, as it was mentioned, and we may create different activities with the help of text. And you may see examples in the screen. And for post process, like it was already mentioned, like implementation of the things into real life. So they may retell the story, which can develop their speaking. They may kind of organize picture dictation. Again, we here kind of they will use their speaking. We may organize comic strips, writing stories, summaries, process modeling, sentence framing, analyzing text characters, ending the story discussion. And how about other types of activities for post reading is that you use it to use in your kind of teaching context? Can you bring other examples of post reading activities that you use in your teaching context?
True-false activity, for example.
Actually, true-false activity is comprehension checking activity, and we may use it in while process, not in post process. So in post process, we need to integrate it with listening or writing usually.
Miss Yakut, may I just give you example for post activity as you asked for reading?
Yes.
It may be, for example, if you give a story or fairy tale and to end the story, and after it for post activities, they may act this.
Acting.
The story and fairy tale. Yes. Yeah.
Drama, acting. Wonderful. Yes, this is really famous activity in Uzbekistan right now. Wonderful.
Another activity is we can use true, false activity also, giving them
reading comprehension.
the sentences.
Okay.
So can I give some examples?
Yes.
So, well, we can ask the participant students to present. So they may just analyze the text, then provide some solutions if this is solution kind of reading. Or they can just role plays. They may be involved to role plays, or continue the reading as well. For example, if the reading is not kind of finished yet, so the learners may be asked to write down the continuation.
Ending the story.
Ending, yes. Maybe they will just create new story with the same characters. It's up to them.
So it's up to them and it's up to the teachers as well. What kind of post-production are you waiting for from your students? That is wonderful, Venerable. You are right. And I like your activity, which can be problem solution. Yeah, problem solution is also good. Okay. Yes.
Alongside these activities for post activity, we may also end critical thinking and creative thinking. And critical thinking, for example, after reading the story, people should not criticize, but thinking critically why it is, why he liked it or didn't like, and try to find the reasons for that, why they choose this, why they are opposing this kind of opinion. And for the critical thinking, they may also use, how can I say, how would they act, and what is the effect of these things, and by this we are broadening their horizons, and how we are creating and boosting their creative thinking. We can
Wonderful.
do post activity. Yes.
Yes, wonderful. So you present like a schematic where they will kind of present their likes and dislikes, and they need to prove at the same time why do they like, why don't they like. Good activity. And the next activity, their reaction if they were in this situation. Good job. So you will speak about activities a lot with my other colleagues. And now I'm going to give a turn to Malika, and she's going to continue our webinar. Malika?
Thank you, Ms. Yakut.
Thank you too.
Okay, let's continue. So usually our learners find reading boring. What do you think? Why do they think so?
May we
What's
answer?
the reason?
Can I say?
Yes,
may we answer? Yes.
Okay,
There are some reasons for that. First main reason for that is it's not how can I say, the exact level of learners. You didn't take attention their level. This is also one of the biggest reason for getting people bored.
Yeah,
For example,
you are completely right.
for extending reading, you should give for the pupil that oppose to A2. You should give for extended reading the stories that have level A1 or A1 plus. A lot of new words can get confused with the pupils.
Okay, thank you, Ranohon. Yes, please.
Okay, and I believe that if you like shorten the level of students. Like if you put A1 to A2 levels, then students are not going to have any development in their reading. And the main reason I believe why students find reading boring is that the failure to make the reading process interesting by the teacher. So the teacher is the responsible person who should make the process a little bit interacting. And then the students will be interacted in the reading, not bored. And the other major reason why they get bored while reading is maybe the tons of information at once. Like usually like readings are really long and they find it really boring to read all the information is being given from the text.
Okay, yeah.
And also I want to add.
Go ahead.
May I?
Yes, please.
First of all, especially young learners, when they see, for example,
oh,
they first pay attention to the size of it. When they see if it's too long, so they may.
Miss Yulduz, I guess your connection is very
students. Really?
Yeah, can you type your answer, please? Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Can you? May I continue?
Now it sounds much better. So, can you try one more?
Yeah. So, young learners, first of all, think when they see the size of the text, they first get bored when they see the size of the text. So this, I think, why this is the answer for this question. Why do they get bored? Firstly, then, for example, some kind of patience when during the readings, they need some patience, and they must know the meaning. They must get acquainted with the text. So if it's interesting, too interesting, though they can be interested in reading and may continue if they are if they become fond of the reading, so they may continue the reading. So this is my opinion.
Thank you very much, Yulduz.
May
Thank
I add
you.
something?
Yes,
well, sometimes why students or pupils get bored, I think teachers choose something easy for them, or the story might be not interesting. As I heard, when we do such kind of reading tasks or development, we should choose 1+ level. Like if they have intermediate level, we should choose the story from upper intermediate level, or etc.
But we should make sure that the level is not so high for the proficiency level of our learners as well, because if the text is too difficult for them to comprehend, so that will cause some failure, I think. And here, thank you, Barna, for your insights. We really appreciate it. Gulbakhor Mamadieva was typing that failure of analyzing needs of the results may lead in boredom of learners. And so, yes, you are right, Gulbakhor. Thank you. As you see, as you see in the slide, we also wrote some main reasons for this, like text or topics are not suitable for learners' needs, wants, and preferences. So before giving any text, before choosing any text, we should take into consideration our learners' needs, their wants and preferences. And as you have mentioned about that language level of the text is higher or lower than students' level. And finally, students do not read different genres. So when teachers are highly dependent on the textbooks, so they usually use like one kind of genre. Nowadays, as we live in the era of technology, we should use different kinds of text. For example, reading announcements, advertisements, yeah, web articles, or maybe blogs. That will be much more interesting for our learners. So we should try different kind of genres. Can you please move to the next slide, Ms. Yakut? So, and in this webinar, we aim to give some techniques and strategies to make the reading part more interesting and more creative. And the first one is KWL Strategy, which has been used for a long time, but it's still very useful and can engage your learners in the activity. So in the KWL strategy, you should design a table and divide it into 3 columns: column K, column W, and column L. So in the column K, before reading the text, your learners will write about what they have already know about the topic. So this will help them to activate and build their prior knowledge. And in the second column, W, what I want to know, your learners write their wonders about the text, what they want to know about it. And this will establish a purpose for reading. And the last column, L, will be fulfilled after reading the text. Like it's kind of summary and it's kind of reflection. So what they learned from the text, what kind of new information did they get from the text? They will write about it. This strategy can help students reflect and evaluate their learning experience, as well as serve as a useful assessment tool for teachers. So when you see like their tables, ready tables, you may evaluate what did they learn, how did they understand the text or topic. Next slide, please. So in this slide, I'd like you to draw your attention on these newsletters about the story of Coca-Cola. I have designed it using the website canva.com. By the way, let me give a little info about this website. If you go to this website and get registered, you may see the section newsletters. And when you go to this section, you will have some ready free templates. And it's very easy to design reading passages with different kinds of pictures. So you may easily just copy and paste your text and find topic related pictures from the internet and also copy and paste them. So as you see, it's kind of attention catchy, very interesting to read, it's like article from the magazine. You can use them in your online teaching, just with sharing your screen or just sending them, or in face-to-face sessions, you may easily print them out. So let's one more time, let's look at the KWL chart, how your learners can use KWL chart based on the story of Coca-Cola. So before reading the text, if you give this chart, in the first column, what they know about Coca-Cola, so your learners will probably write that the drink is one of the most popular drinks, yeah, all over the world, but unfortunately, it's not healthy. And in W column, they will write what they want to know about Coca-Cola or history of the Coca-Cola. Maybe they want to know about the recipe of the Coca-Cola or the creator of this drink, and etc. And after reading the text, in the last column, they will write about what they have learned, what kind of new information did they get from the passage. Okay, next slide. And here are some engaging activities for reading passage. First one is encouraging prediction. Before giving the text, just make your learners to predict the text. So how? If you teach online, just you may use topic related image. Just show them image and ask their predictions about it. Then you may add some headings and you will see how their predictions will change. Additionally, you may add some keywords from the text. They will also
Please switch off your microphone, please.
Thank you. So, and if you give some keywords, maybe your learners will change their predictions, or additionally may speak about another things. So it's a kind of activity for engaging, encouraging their prediction, like activating their background schemata. Next slide, please. The next activity is about screw up. It's about finding the gist. So as you see in the picture, for this activity, you should just roll a copy of the text into a ball, like in the picture, and give these balls to your learners. By the way, it's suitable for face-to-face sessions, and your learners may not unroll it. They should just read the words in these shapes and should find the gist of the text and should find the main idea of the text. They will try to find the main idea. And in this way, you somehow increase their interest to read the text itself, because they want to quickly just unroll the paper and read the text and to check whether their gist is true or not. So it's a kind of interesting activity as well. And the last activity, one more activity. We have several activities. It's related to scanning. First, you should find an appropriate text and create questions based on this text. Then cut it into a grass skirt. So you may see it in the picture as well, how to cut the questions and hang them in the class. This activity can be best conducted if you just divide your learners into small groups of 2 or 3 students. So participants will go to the take question and come up to their group mates and try to find the answer to the question from the text. And as soon as they find the answer for the question, the next participant goes and takes another question. So the group which has the more answers is the winner. So they should be very quick, and they should find correct answers. Now it's high time to give the floor to our next presenter, Ms. Sarvanos, please.
Thank you. Nice to meet you all here in our webinar.
Let's continue with activities which are bright and engaging and which can be used both online and offline. So first of all, I'd like to introduce the activity which is called story maps. So what are the story maps? Story maps are a kind of templates or graph organizers that can be used to teach some kind of story or to teach some elements of the story to your students. So story maps can be both used online and offline. So in offline version, you just take ready versions, ready templates from the internet and print them and distribute to your students. While in online version, you can just download the version and send separately to your students. So why we should use story maps in our classroom. So first of all, story maps, they improve students' comprehension, which means that story maps, just as you see in the picture, they include different kind of elements like settings, characters, beginning, middle, end. It's written here, yes? And the story map may include some different elements as you see. So if students, they try to write down these kind of elements, they try to read the story with more attention, just rather than not scanning it, but also reading with comprehension, reading with attention. So next one, they provide students with a framework for identifying the elements of the story. So they may not know, for example, what are the beginning, what are the climax of the story, or what happened in the end. Here, if you ask your students, they just visualize the story and they can write down their opinions about the story here. And next one, students just learn to organize their stories. So here, as you see, they are very useful if you use them. And if you search the internet, you can find ready-made, just ready templates. And if you want, you may have some changes. By the way, you can also use Canva, as we suggested, to make your story maps more engaging and interesting. So next activity. So the next one is word clouds. So what are word clouds? These are pictures or graphs, which includes different vocabulary or words from a certain we can say a story, text, any kind of material. So word clouds, they are generated or created by special apps or tech tools. One of them is wordart.com. If you just go to this site, you can find just a number of pictures or illustrations to have your vocabulary task here. And word clouds, as I said, mostly used online, but if you want just to use them in your offline lesson, you can just make them and print and distribute to your students. So what are the advantages of word clouds? First of all, they can be used to introduce a new reading topic. For example, a new reading text maybe. If your students, for example, consider they are moving from elementary school to secondary school and they don't want to read, for example, long texts and they find them boring. In this case, you can just pick some essential parts of the story, some words that illustrate the text and show them these word clouds. So it's very essential if you use them to demonstrate the topic or text. So next, students also can use their word. We haven't finished it yet. Students, they also can make their own word cloud. And here, they can use just some words which are unfamiliar. So you can ask your students to write down or just include the words which they didn't understand from the text after reading. And word clouds, they're very creative assessment tools, because just if you want to know students' comprehension, how they understood the text, just given text, you can ask them to create some word clouds and include the words which they understood or comprehend. So here, as you see, this tech tool is very engaging, and if you use this tool in your online lesson, it will be just exactly interesting. So next. And as you see some kind of activities. Now let's turn to the websites, useful resources to make your reading lesson creative. Here, as you see in the slide, here, magiccase.com. This is the just wonderful slide which includes different storybooks which you can read online. And if you want to share with your students, you can just do some screen sharing, and you can read them for your students, or you can just your students can separately go to the site and choose the story and read themselves. Here, as you see, they are completely free, and this the stories, they are separated into different forms, like stories for young children, stories for older children, and stories for young adults. Just you can choose which one is appropriate for you. And one more thing here, the stories, most of them have tracks, and you can put the track on, and your students may listen to them. So it's also essential to include listening in your reading classroom. So here is another picture. As you see, here the stories contain, most of them contain illustrations to make your students comprehend the text much more better. And just in the at the bottom, you can see some track words, and here the description of the story is given. So if you try this, we can say website, we will never just get bored, and your students will be engaged also. So have you ever thought about creating your own story? Here, just everything is possible. Here with the new tech tool, which is called Story Jumper. If you go to storyjumper.com, here you can make your own engaging story, you can say. The basic thing is here, it has a free content, and there are some free backgrounds, picture of animate and inanimate these things, objects, photos if you want to upload. And here, if you go, just you only need a Gmail or email, it doesn't matter, and you will sign up, and you will begin creating your own stories. So here, you don't need anything, just be a bit creative and create your own story. I really recommend this tech tool for you to use in your classroom. So what about assessment? What about activities? How can we make just reading activities online? Yes, here we have teachertools.digital, and if you visit there, there are a number of activities that you can do, and at the same time, there are ready ones. So here, look, multiple choice questions, quiz. Here, read aloud, text gap fill, text to test. Here, just you can see a number of different types of activities, and the basic thing is here is it's free. And why we should use this kind of assessment tools? You know, sometimes when we are using Zoom or Google Classroom, it will be a bit maybe boring for students to look at the screen and see the same top thing, maybe material. At this time, when you want to have separate maybe grades of the students and mark them separately, you can use this tech tool. So what you should do is here, just sign up also, and create your own folder, and just do your make your assessment. In order to make an assessment, you don't need to do anything. You should just copy the text where you should do it, and just the test generator, it creates the test itself. You don't have to do anything. So then you should just share the link with the students, and they enter. And by the way, they don't need any app to enter and see their results. Everything is done online without any app here. So advantages, as it's written here, test generators can create assessment in seconds. So really, it may take Even if the text is a bit longer, it may take a minute even. Just try it. And online learning management tools can help you as teachers to provide quick feedback to learners. So the feedback is provided by the computer itself. You don't have to do anything. Then a task can allow instructor to save valuable class time for additional learning opportunities, which means that you can use this tech tool not only during the classroom but also out of the classroom. So it is very time-saving one. So I really recommend it to use. And so there are other useful resources, websites which you can use in your reading lessons. As you see, readingbear.org, Home Oxford .org, Learn Khan Academy.org, Reading ACB, ECB.org. They are very useful. And as you know, we share our screen, just our PPTs after the webinar, and you can just go directly to this website and try them out. So now it's time for reflection. Now I would like you to tell your ideas and what have you learned about today's webinar? What kind of useful information have you got? And are you just satisfied with the webinar or not? Can you just share your ideas and see what others think, okay? Please be active. We really want to hear you.
Okay.
Information.
May I?
Yes, you're welcome.
We are thankful for you all by supporting new methods of teaching. Of course, it's good, but not eco-friendly. I mean, this is my opinion.
Any other ideas, please don't hesitate to share.
Okay, can I share?
Yeah, of course. You're welcome.
So basically, what I found interesting about this specific webinar is that the materials that should be taken into consideration before providing the reading activity to the students. Like that was really interesting. Like the thing that we had to know that what kind of materials should be provided to improve reading comprehension. And the other thing that I found really appealing is that some of the like how can I say? Okay, let it be activities for the engagement of students, like screw up activities, and the other ones which I found really interesting. Like I took screenshots to apply my own lessons. That was very nice. Thank you very much for this webinar.
Thank you for your participation.
Exactly. Okay, so now you have listened to us. We still have some time. And how about you? What other activities for making your reading classes more interesting, more creative do you use? And as we already practice it for teaching online, like if we're already kind of half year, we can starting from March, yes, ending till May at school and then ending in June at universities. How about other tools? Because we have already told that it's like exchanging experiences webinar, and we also wanted to listen you and your reflection on the activities that you have provided during this experience of online teaching and offline teaching as well.
Oh, can I share one?
Yes, exactly.
So like I did this almost the same thing with the upper level groups, like upper intermediate and the IELTS ones. With them, I was like providing some articles on the news, like from Guardian or The Economist, and I made them write reports on them, like they just read the article, they just read the news, and then they write their own report. Why I did so? Because I did so to check the comprehension of theirs, like did they understand the thing, did they got it correctly or incorrectly. And the thing is that they cannot plagiarize because they have to write on their own, and it should be a report, not rewritement of the article. Like it's just a report, the thing that they have understood from the text.
So is that become so happy that we have so great teachers among us tutors, because as we know, like ALS teach just the strategy of achieving success in testing, and usually teachers don't pay attention for developing students or kind of participants or candidates critical thinking. But reading is also like analyzing and implementing the process, the content that they have like learned or into real process. And I'm so happy that you have organized such kind of wonderful activities with your teacher, with your students. Wonderful. How about
Miss
Sanders?
Yakut, may I? May I? Miss
Yes,
Yakut?
Ranahan, yes.
Yes. I also do some activity which I want to share with you. We choose some book reviewing with my students, and we choose time and reviewing. And we talk about together as in
Ranahan, I'm sorry. Ranahan, I'm so sorry. I need to interrupt you. You may kind of share with the activity in our chat room because you are not so your voice is not in a good quality. And how about others? Do we have any other volunteers?
Miss Yakut, can I add one more thing?
Yes, Malika.
About we have mentioned about canva.com, yeah. I mentioned that there is a section of newsletters, and you may design there your reading passages. Here there is also a certificate section, and it's a very good idea to make small reading competitions among your learners, participants, like make a competition, like a contest, and you can easily design the certificates for your learners, for the winners in canva.com, and you should just send these certificates or just print them out and give in face-to-face sessions. It's kind of motivation and also not very expensive source of giving some gifts for the winners.
So actually, I also use Canva.com for creating like book covers for our university books. And you may see great templates, and you may use these templates, and you may edit these templates. Great source. Yes, Malika, I agree with you. And just as that big mentioned that he also teach like IELTS also. And we all know like just it's nowadays like that is like a great like a great demand for testimony or else money, because now today in Uzbekistan everybody like pays attention. If we say like I know English, what's your band in IELTS, yeah. And I would like to recommend you spreader.com, where you may create like activities for skimming, because in us like we know that is students ability of like reading so quickly and catching up the main information by kind of skimming, it will be checked. And so, and if you use like a spreader.com, it's also online tool. You may use it in your Zoom classes as well. So the only thing like you need to find your text, and you need to fix the speed that you are going to check your readers, and you need to create comprehensive activities with the help of the tools that is mentioned by our colleague, Teachers Tools that Digital. And so you may enjoy with the activities, and your students will be involved in your not only face-to-face classes, but also for your online classes as well. So here,
thank you very much for sharing that. Could you please like type in the link in the chat box if possible?
That is reader.com. And I will add this source to useful resources of our PPT after this webinar as well. So, and here we need to end our session webinar. If you have any questions, you are welcome. If you don't have any questions, thanks for your being with us. Thanks for devoting your priceless time to us, sorry. And see you in our next webinars. Goodbye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
For your commitment, for your active participation.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.